General Electric Aerospace and Pratt Whitney have received increased funding from the U.S. Air Force under the Next Generation Adaptive Propulsion (NGAP) program. These adaptive cycle engines promise higher fuel efficiency, greater thrust, improved thermal management, which all of those are crucial for future fighter jets. The big challenge here is going to be developing next-gen propulsion. It's going to face supply chain bottlenecks, especially with high-temp materials like ceramic matrix composites.
Yeah.
The NGAP program is running parallel to the F-35 engine modernization effort, which does raise questions about potential overlap or even redundancy in future fighter engine investments. Interesting.
Now, I hear you already trying to side with Andrew and diving into supply chain and
you know that's where I'm going.
But okay, let's just take a look. First off, both of these engine manufacturers had previously issued contracts for the prototype phase for $975 million. That was a ceiling. Now they have just been increased to a $3.5 billion limit for each firm.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to keep them busy. That means they need these things designed, and they're going to be designing them and building them and all the way through July of 2032. So the work that has to happen between now and then is design, analysis, rig testing, prototype engine build, more testing, weapon systems integration. The contract is actually focused on delivering what is going to be a state-of-the-art propulsion system, flexible architecture that's going to be tailored for future combat aircraft across all sorts of different missions. So the number one challenge here is actually the design step. Design. There's so much that goes into designing something that has to be state-of-the-art now and for the next decade or two. So yes, you've got to build it. You need your supply chain, but you've got to have this thing designed.
They have designed it.
The whole contract is to keep them busy through 2032. They're still doing more designing, more analysis.
Oh, they're perpetual designers. It's like being a perpetual student, isn't it? You never get out into the real world.
This is a new sixth generation work they're doing. It's not finished yet.
Yeah, I tell you, man, you got to get into execution. And the problem with execution is supply chain bottlenecks. You're talking about CMC stuff here. That is high temperature material. So its production is slow, it's expensive, and it's extremely difficult to scale. The design, the easy part. Come on, we've got to be able to make things here. That's what it's all about. That leads to delays, cost overruns if you don't get your supply chain in place. So you've got already limited suppliers. You've got all your export restrictions because you've got your ITAR stuff, your national security concerns all buzzing around the place as well. Lots of people with clipboards stamping certifications every few months and saying, I'll be back in 6 months when you've done another week's work of worth, or whatever you want to say. If I could string a sentence together, that would be even better. But for me, it's a big problem is supply chain bottlenecks.
On behalf of all of the designers and engineers out there who just heard Andrew Sparrow say the design is the easy part, I just wanted to apologize. I mean, I will say Andrew has a small point that once the design is there and complete, yes, you got to make it. So I agree with you that at that point, supply chain is going to be an issue that's got to be fixed. But I still say right now, there's so much going into this design, this testing, this change management, figuring out what is actually going to happen here and how to make this state of the art for the next decades. Still number one. But once we get there, how do you want to fix supply chain?
Well, keep in mind, delayed production is lost contracts and rising costs. So that's the big one, isn't it? That's really, really the big one. Let's just leave it at that, shall we? How do we fix it? SCMI, supply chain management integration, directly tackles the biggest business risk here, which is that CMC bottleneck. So you're going to bring in real-time supplier collaboration to enable better forecasting and risk mitigation. Multi-tier supply chain visibility is going to help you identify the bottlenecks early and then secure alternate sources from your supply chain. You're going to have some predictive analytics and AI-driven demand planning on top of all of that. Then you've got a real digitalized supply chain management solution. That's what we bring in. And we connect it in with the design, which should have already been done by now anyway. See you next week.